Hello children, today I am here with the last chapter of our first flight textbook, The Proposal. It's a drama written by Anton Chekhov. The Proposal is a one-act play that begins with a young man, Lomov, presenting a marriage proposal to his neighbor's daughter. Before Lomov could actually convey it to that girl, they enter into an argument about oxen meadows. Chubakov, the lady's father, also joins the heated discussion. After they end this, they enter into another argument about their dogs and which one is better than the other. In the midst of all this, proposal gets forgotten until Lomov falls off due to his palpitations, and Chubakov instantly puts her daughter's hands in Lomov's. Unfortunately, the quarreling still continues. This play was originally titled A Marriage Proposal and is written by a Russian writer Anton Chekhov. He displays how the rich people want to marry their children into other wealthy families with the aim of enhancing their wealth. This drama is a farce. Farce means a comic dramatic work. Let's see the main characters. Stepan Stepanovich Chubakov, a landowner. Natalia Stepanovna, his daughter, 25 years old. So Chubakov is a landowner and Natalia is his daughter. She is of 25 years. Ivan Vasilievich Lomov, he is the next character. He is a neighbor of Chubakov. He is a large, hearty, but very suspicious landowner. These three are the main characters of our drama: Chubakov, Natalia, and Lomov. When the drama starts, we are seeing a drawing room in Chubakov's house. Lomov enters wearing a dress jacket and white gloves. Chubakov rises to meet him. So when the drama starts, we are seeing Chubakov, the landowner, he is in his house, and Lomov, that means his neighbor. Chubakov's neighbor, Lomov, enters there by wearing a dress jacket and white gloves. By seeing Lomov, Chubakov rose up. Chubakov, my dear fellow, whom do I see? Ivan Vasilievich, I am extremely glad. Squeezes his hand. Now this is a surprise, my darling. How are you? So Chubakov welcomes his neighbor very politely and asked him about his well-being. He's asking, whom do I see? And I'm extremely glad of seeing you. And he shakes hands. And also he asks Lomov why he came there. Then Lomov, thank you. How may you be getting on? So Lomov said thanks. And he asked, how is Chubakov? Chubakov, we just get along somehow, my angel. Thanks to your prayers and so on. Sit down, please do. Now, you know, you shouldn't forget all about your neighbors, my darling. My dear fellow, why are you so formal in your get-up? Evening dress, gloves, and so on. Can you be going anywhere, my treasure? So Chubakov said, oh, with your prayers, my angel. That's how he calls Lomov. Okay, so my angel, with your prayers, I'm doing good. And you may sit, please be seated. And you should not forget your neighbors, my darling. You should never forget your neighbors. You should come to see the neighbors often. And he is asking Lomov, why you are in formal dress? Why you dressed up formally? How he dressed? Evening gloves, evening dress, gloves is the... So what's the reason? Are you going anywhere? He asked. Chubakov asked to Lomov. Lomov, no, I have come only to see you, honored Stepan Stepanovich. So Lomov replies, there's no special occasion. I just came to see you, that's all. Chibuko, then why are you in evening dress, my precious? As if you are paying a New Year's Eve visit. But our Chibuko couldn't believe it. Okay, so he's asking the reason behind Lamo wearing that evening dress. Like he is attending a New Year Eve, he is dressed. Lamo, well, you see, it's like this. Takes his arm. I've come to you, honored Stefan Stefanovic, to trouble you with a request. Not once or twice have I already had the privilege of applying to you for help, and you have always, so to speak. I must ask your pardon. I am getting excited. I should drink some water, honored Stefan Stefanovic. He drinks. Lamo is getting a bit nervous, and he asked, can he drink some water? Okay, so by taking Stephen's Chibukov's hands in his arms, he is saying that I really don't want to trouble you, and with all the gratitude, he says that I want your help. But he's getting excited too. He's getting nervous too. That's why he drinks water. Chibukov, aside. He has come to borrow money. Shan't give him any. Aloud. What is it, my beauty? So Chibukov, in his mind, he said that, oh, I'm sure that he is here to borrow money and I should not give it. That said in his mind. And he asked it aloud. What is it, my beauty? My beauty, you can tell me what's the help you need. But in his mind, he said that, oh, Lamo came there to borrow money and I will not give it. Lamo. You see, honored Stepanich, I beg pardon, Stefan Honorich. I mean, I'm awfully excited, as you will please notice. In short, you alone can help me, though I don't deserve it, of course, and haven't any right to count on your assistance. So really, the words of Lamo shows that he is that much excited or that much nervous. And Lamo couldn't even speak properly, and he was unable to get Chibukov's name correctly, and he begs pardon for not pronouncing his name correctly. And Lamo tells him that he's the only person, that means Chibukov is the only person who could help him in this situation, although he doesn't deserve it and although he has no right to ask for it. Only Chibukov can help him. So Lamo is there for getting a big help from whom? From Chibukov. Chibukov. Oh, don't go round and round it, darling. Spit it out. Well, go round and round. What's the meaning? Its meaning is not coming to the main point. So, Chibukov didn't understand what Lamo was referring to. So, he told him to talk directly. Don't go round and round. Don't speak like this. Please speak directly. Lamo, one moment. This very minute. The fact is, I have come to ask the hand of your daughter, Natalia Stepanovna, in marriage. To seek the hand of a girl in marriage means to propose. So, Lamo finally speaks up, only to say that he had come to ask for his daughter's hand. That means he needs to marry Chibukov's daughter, Natalia Stepanovna. Chibukov, joyfully, by Jove, Ivan Vasilevich, say it again. I didn't hear it all. By Jove here means by God. Chibukov didn't believe what he just heard out of delight. And that's why he asked Lamo to repeat what he just said. Lamo is repeating. I have the honor to ask. So when Chibukov asked him to repeat, he's doing the same. Chibukov interrupting. My dear fellow, I'm so glad and so on. Yes, indeed. And all that sort of thing. Embraces and kisses Lamo. So really by hearing the words of Lamo, he became so happy. Chibukov became so much excited and so much happy. And he says, I've been hoping for it for a long time. It's been my continual desire, sheds a tear. And I've always loved you, my angel, as if you were my own son. May God give you both his help and his love and so on, and so much hope. What am I behaving in this idiotic way for? I'm off my balance with joy, absolutely off my balance. Oh, with all my soul, I'll go and call Natasha and all that. Natasha, Natalia. Okay, so he calls Natalia in such a way, Natasha. So he is extremely delighted, extremely happy. This Chiboko is expressing his happiness. He fell short of words to express his happiness, his high spirits. He was overwhelmed, and he is kissing Lamau. He kisses Lamau, and he couldn't control his tears. It is seen there. He sheds a tear, and he is blessing both Lamau and his daughter Natasha. And he says that I'll go and call Natasha, and I'm going to break this great news to her. Lamau greatly moved. Honor Stefan Stefanovic, do you think I may count on her consent? The consent means agree, get the agreement. Okay. So Lamau asks Chiboko if Natalia will consent for the marriage. What do you think? He is asking to Chiboko. Chiboko, why, of course, my darling. And as if she won't consent, she's in love. God, she's like a lovesick cat. And so on. Shan't be long. Exit. The meaning of the word egad is an exclamation expressing surprise or anger or affirmation. Egad is an exclamation. Okay. Lovesick means yearning or desiring for love. So Chiboko is saying that there's no way Natalia won't consent because she is longing for his love. Okay. She really likes Lamau. Chiboko says. He exits to call Natalia. That's all. Now Lamau is saying, Lamau, it's called. I'm trampling all over just as if I got an examination before me. The great thing is I must have my mind made up. If I give myself time to think, to hesitate, to talk a lot, to look for an ideal, for real love, then I'll never get married. But it's called. Natalia Stepanovna is an excellent housekeeper. Not bad looking, well educated. So here, Lamau is trembling, shaking, because of excitement. He's trembling all over. And he says that he's just like writing an exam, like waiting for an examination result or writing an exam. The great thing is I must have my mind made up. I might have decided everything earlier. He might not have waited till this time. Then he began to think again because he's there alone. Okay. Then he's saying, if I give myself time to think, to hesitate, to talk a lot, to look for an ideal, for real love, if I'm waiting to find a real love, if I'm waiting to get a girl who talks or whom I can talk a lot, then I'll never get married. If I'm waiting for getting an ideal person, if I'm waiting for getting a real love, if I'm waiting for getting a girl whom I can talk a lot, then I will never marry in my life. It's already late. And here in the coming lines, we can see his decision. That means why he took such a decision. Look at the next lines. Natalia Stepanovna is an excellent housekeeper. Not bad looking, well educated. What more do I want? Now his description about Natalia Stepanovna or his views about Natalia Stepanovna is given here. According to Lamau, Natalia Stepanovna is an excellent housekeeper and she is also a good looking girl, not bad looking. Okay, so she is a good looking girl and well educated one. Then what more do I want? These are the basic things a man need. But I'm getting a noise in my ears from excitement. But though everything is okay, he is much excited and he can hear some noise in his ears because of that excitement, because of that nervousness. He drinks water again. And it's impossible for me not to marry. In the first place, I'm already 35, a critical age, so to speak. So now he says, I can't wait for much time because I'm already late to marriage. I'm already 35. It's a critical age. In the second place, I ought to lead a quiet and regular life. I suffer from palpitations. I'm excitable and always getting awfully upset. At this very moment, my lips are trembling. And there's a twitch in my right eyebrow. So these physical features of Lamau is being changed a bit because of his over excitement, over nervousness. Okay, so what all things happened? He suffered from palpitations, that means irregular heartbeat. Then what's the next thing? I'm excitable and always getting awfully upset. He's getting upset. At this very moment, my lips are trembling. His lips are trembling. And there's a small twitch. Twitch means a sudden quick movement or feeling in his right eyebrow. So he is not physically comfortable as he is that much excited. But the very worst of all is the way I sleep. I no sooner get into bed and begin to go off when suddenly something in my left side gives a pull, and I can feel it in my shoulder and head. I jump up like a lunatic, walk about a bit, and lie down again. But as soon as I begin to get off to sleep, there's another pull, and this may happen 20 times. So, there's one more thing. This excitement is leading him to some physical changes, but something worse is the as a habit of Lamo. What's that? When he sleeps, something happens. When he gets into bed, when he suddenly starts sleeping, he feels a kind of pull at his left side, and he can feel that pull at his left shoulders, and it will spread to his head also. And when he began to feel all those over his complete body, he jumps up like a lunatic. Lunatic means a person who is mad or who is mentally ill. So he's like a lunatic. He'll jump up from the bed, and after that, what he'll do? He'll walk about a bit, and he'll come to the bed again and lie down. But as soon as he starts sleeping, again the same thing happens. So as soon as I begin to get off to sleep, there's another pull again. That pulling is being felt by him on his complete body, and this may happen about 20 times. Okay, so at this time, who enters that place? Natalia Stepnovna comes in. She enters the scene. Natalia, well, it's you. And Papa said, go, there's a merchant come for his goods. How do you do, Ivan Vaslovich? So Chubakov's daughter Natalia enters the scene, and by seeing Ivan Vaslovich, she became surprised because her father told her that some merchant was waiting to get his goods. Okay, and she asked, how is he? Lamo, how do you do, honored Natalia Stepnovna? Lamo also asked her the same. Natalia, you must excuse my apron and negligee. We are shelling peas for drying. Why haven't you been here for such a long time? Sit down. They seat themselves. Want to have some lunch? She is apologizing. She apologizes for wearing an apron, and because she's wearing that apron because she had been shelling peas for drying. So that's why she's wearing an apron. And she asked him to be comfortable, and he can sit there by saying that both of them sits. And she even offers him lunch. Okay. Lamo, no, thank you. I have had some already. So he said, no thanks, I had already. Natalia, then smoke. Here are the matches. The weather is splendid now, but yesterday it was so wet that the workmen didn't do anything all day. How much hay have you stacked? Just think, I felt greedy and had a whole field cut, and now I am not at all pleased about it because I am afraid my hay may rot. I ought to have waited a bit. But what's this? Why, you are in evening dress? Oh, well, I never. Are you going to a ball or what? Though, I must say you look better. Tell me, why are you up? Why are you got up like that? So, when Lamo said that he already had his lunch, she offered him smoke, a cigar to smoke. She talks about the great weather, and she said yesterday it was so wet and the workmen didn't do anything at all. And she asked, how much hay have you made? How much hay stacks you made? Then she began to say what she did in the last days. Okay, just I was much greedy, and that's why I cut the whole field, and I was so happy at that time, but later I was not at all pleased because I'm afraid my hay may rot. She won't be getting a good weather to dry all the hay. Otherwise, if she's not getting a good weather to dry all the hay, it will get rotten, isn't it? So she's thinking, oh, I might have waited a bit to cut all the field. But what's this? Why you are in evening dress so at this time only? Natalia noticed that Lamo is wearing a evening dress. Okay. And she is asking, are you going to a ball, a party or something like that? I must say you look better, but you look very good. You look very nice. You look handsome. She complimented him. Tell me, why are you got up like that? And she asked, where are you going? Lamo, he became much excited. He says, you see, honored Natalia Stefano, the fact is, I have made up my mind to ask you to hear me out. Of course, you'll be surprised and perhaps even angry. But it's awfully cold. So Lamo is getting more nervous now. Okay, so he began to speak up. You see, honored Natalia Stefana, the real fact is, I have made up my mind, means I have decided to ask you to hear me. You should hear me. Of course, you will be surprised of hearing this. Sometimes you will be getting angry too. But he couldn't complete his words. In between, he's saying, oh, it's awfully cold. He began to feel cold. Natalia, what's the matter? Well, Natalia is getting upset and she is asking, what's the matter? Lamo, I shall try to be brief. You must know, honored Natalia Stepnova, that I have long since my childhood, in fact, had the privilege of knowing your family. My late aunt and her husband, from whom, as you know, I inherited my land, always had the greatest respect for your father and your late mother. The Lamos and the Tobacos have always had the most friendly and I must almost say the most affectionate regard for each other. And as you know, my land is a near neighbor of yours. You will remember that my oxen meadows touch your birch woods. So he's not directly coming to the point. Okay, he's a bit shy to say it directly. So he started by saying about his childhood days. Okay, he began to say that from my childhood days onwards, you know it very well that from my childhood days onwards, both our family are having a very close relationship. My late aunt and her husband, they inherited my land. That means from them, I inherited my land from them. And not only that, I give much respect to your father and your late mother. Here, one thing should be noted, Natalia's mother is no more. Okay, so I do respect them. Then the Lamos and the Chubacos, that means both the families, the Lamos and the Chubacos have always had the most friendly and I must almost say the most affectionate regard for each other. Both of them are much friendly, much loving. Then, as you know, my land is a near neighbor of yours, and not only that, my land, name of that land is Oxen Meadows. Oxen Meadows means a land full of grass for animals to graze in. Okay, so my Oxen Meadows is very near to your land, Birchwoods. Birchwoods means a wood of birch trees. So, my land. It touches the birchwoods. That means we are neighbors in that case too. Natalia, excuse my interrupting you. You say my oxen meadows, but are they yours? So Natalia noted a point. When he said the word my oxen meadows, she noticed it and she is asking, that land, is it yours? Lamo, yes, mine. Natalia, what are you talking about? Oxen meadows are ours, not yours. Natalia couldn't believe it. Okay, because she believes that the oxen meadows were theirs. Lamo, no, mine. Honored Natalia Stepnavna. Natalia, well, I never knew that before. How do you make that out? Lamo, how? I'm speaking of those oxen meadows which are wedged in between your birchwoods and the burnt marsh. So, Lamo clarifies and points out the exact oxen meadows, which oxen meadows he is talking about. Okay, the ones that are wedged means been bordered between birchwoods and the burnt marsh, between these two places. That oxen meadows I meant. Natalia, yes, they are ours. It's not yours, Natalia said. It's ours. That land, that Oxen Meadows is ours. That Oxen Meadows is not yours. Lamau, no, you're mistaken, honored Natalia Stefnovna. They are mine. Natalia, just think, Ivan Vasilevich, how long have they been yours? Lamau, how long? As long as I can remember. So Natalia is asking to think how long have that Oxen Meadows been his? Lamau is replying that as long as he can remember, it's theirs. Natalia, really? You won't get me to believe that. Natalia is saying, I won't believe it. Lamau, but you can see from the documents, honored Natalia Stefnovna, Oxen Meadows, it's true, were once the subject of dispute, but now everybody knows that they are mine. There's nothing to argue about. You see, my aunt's grandmother gave the free use of these meadows in perpetuity to the peasants of your father's grandfather, in return for which they were to make bricks for her. The peasants belonging to your father's grandfather had the free use of the meadows for 40 years and had got into the habit of regarding them as their own. When it happened that, so Lamau explains, he began to argue that it's theirs, and he began to point out some facts about that land, Oxen Meadows. Perpetuity means the state or quality of lasting forever. Lamau mentions that he has the proof, he has the documents that the land belongs to him. He says that once this land, Oxen Meadows, were disputed property between the issue. That means it was a property which had some issues. And it has been solved now. He goes back into its history. He began to say about his that place history. What's that history? His aunt's grandmother had given that land to your father's grandfather. That means Chebarkov's grandfather. And in return for that, what should be done? These peasants should make bricks for them. Okay, and that was the deal between them. That means Lamau's aunt's grandmother gave that land to the peasants for their free use, not documented to them. Okay, so for free use it's given, but as they used it for 40 years, they thought that they began to regard that land is theirs. That's all. Natalia, no, it isn't all like that. Both grandfather and great grandfather reckoned that their land extended to Burnt Marsh, which means that Oxen Meadows were ours. I don't see what there is to argue about. It's simply silly. Reckoned means established by calculation. So Natalia disagrees what all stories said by Lamau. She says that since childhood, she has heard from her grandfather and from her great grandfather that their land extended till the Burnt Marsh. So she completely trusted those words of her grandfather and great grandfather, and she doesn't see any point in arguing about its ownership with Lamau. Lamau, I will show you the documents, Natalia Stefnovna. Natalia, no, you are simply joking or making fun of me. What a surprise. We have had the land for nearly 300 years, and then we are suddenly told that it isn't ours. Ivan Vasilevich, I can hardly believe my own ears. These meadows aren't worth much to me. They only come to 5 desientis and are worth perhaps 300 rubles. But I can't stand unfairness. Say what you will, I can't stand unfairness. Natalia thinks of it as some kind of joke because she believes the land is theirs since the past 300 years, and now someone comes claiming to be his property. Although the land isn't of much worth, it's only of around 300 rubles. But Natalia is highly disappointed by hearing these unfair words of Lamau. Lamau, hear me out, I implore you. The peasants of your father's grandfather, as I have already had the honor of explaining to you, used to bake bricks for my aunt's grandmother. Now my aunt's grandmother, wishing to make them a pleasant, again Lamau is repeating the same story. The history is being retold by him. Implore means beg someone earnestly to do something. Implore. Here, Lamau begs Natalia to listen to him and he began to repeat the same story. Natalia, I can't make head or tail of all this about aunts and grandfathers and grandmothers. The meadows are ours. That's all. So Natalia says that she doesn't want to hear those stories about aunts, grandfathers, grandmothers, and all. She just wants only one thing. Lamau should believe that this land, ox and meadows, are hers. Lamau, mine. Natalia, ours. You can go on proving it for 2 days on end. You can go and put on 15 dress jackets, but I tell you, they are ours, ours, ours. I don't want anything of yours, and I don't want to give anything of mine. So Natalia disagrees, and she says that he can do anything. He can even continuously speak out that complete history of Hawks and Meadows for 2 days, and he can put on 15 dress jackets to show off before her. You can do everything, but she believes that that land is theirs. And I don't want anything of yours. She says that she doesn't want anything from Lamau, and she doesn't want to give anything to him. Okay, I don't want to give anything of mine. So that's all. Lamau, Natalia Stefnovna, I don't want the meadows, but I'm acting on principle. If you like, I'll make you a present for them. So Lamau clarifies that even he also doesn't want that ox and meadows. If she needs that place, she can take. He's ready to offer that place, ox and meadows, as a present to her. But he's saying that I just said what's right. That's all. Natalia, I can make you a present for them myself because they are mine. Your behavior, Ivan Vasilevich, is strange. You say the least. Up to this, we have always thought of you as a good neighbor, a friend. Last year, we lent you our threshing machine, although on that account, we had to put off our own threshing till November. But you behaved to us as if we were gypsies, giving me my own land. Indeed, not really, that's not at all neighborly. In my opinion, it's even impudent. If you want to know, gypsies means a group of nomadic people who travel from one place to another. Impudent, not showing due respect for another person. So Natalia is getting furious. She's really shocked of hearing this, hearing the words of Lamau. She says that he had been acting very strange, and she thought him as a good friend, as a good neighbor. And last year she lent their threshing machine to Lamau, and because of that they should stop the threshing of their land till November. Because I thought that you were a good person and you are a good neighbor, and now you say that we are like gypsies. We have our own land. We are not like gypsies. We don't want to travel from one place to another in search of our lands. We don't want to get a land to live as a present from someone. Giving me my own land, oh, it's really very a bad thing. You are treating me oddly. She feels that he is not showing any respect to her. That's why she says it's even impudent. If you want to know, really, that's the thing you did now. Lamau, then you make out that I am a land grabber? Madam, never in my life have I grabbed anybody else's land, and I shan't allow anybody to accuse me of having done so. Quickly steps to the carafe and drinks more water. Ox and meadows are mine. Lamau also is getting angry, and he's asking, then you are saying that I'm a land grabber? I won't grab anything from others. Madam, never in my life have I grabbed anybody else's land. In my life I didn't do so. I won't even do that in my complete life. I shan't allow anybody to accuse me for doing such a thing. By saying this, he's drinking a little more water. He's getting nervous. Natalia, it's not true. They are ours. Lamau, mine. Natalia, it's not true. I'll prove it. I'll send my mowers out to the meadows this very day. Mowers means people who cuts grass with a mower, that machine. Natalia says that I'm the owner of that land. That's why tomorrow you can see I will say those people who are working there to stop every works. Lamo, what? Natalia, my mowers will be there this very day. Lamo, I'll give it to them in the neck. Lamo threatens that he will hit Natalia's mowers. Natalia, you dare? How dare you do that? Natalia becomes so angry. Lamo clutches at his heart. Oxen meadows are mine. You understand? Mine. Natalia, please don't shout. You can shout yourself hoarse in your own house. But here, I must ask you to restrain yourself. Hoarse means sounding rough and harsh. Restrain, prevent from doing something. You should keep under control. So, Natalia asked Lamo to behave. Lamo, if it wasn't, madam, for this awful, excruciating palpitation, if my whole inside wasn't upset, I would talk to you in a different way. Oxen meadows are mine. So Lamo is saying, if I'm not having these physical problems like extreme palpitation, extreme heartbeat, we already told he has such a problem, isn't it? When he's getting nervous, he has palpitation also. If such a physical problem was not there for me, I might have shown you, I might have talked in a different way. And he's repeating, he's fixing, or he's again and again saying the same thing. Oxen meadows are mine. Natalia asks, Lamo, mine. Natalia asks, Lamo, mine. By this time, who enters? Chubbuck. Chubbuck, what's the matter? What are you shouting for? Natalia, Papa, please tell this gentleman who owns Oxen Meadows, we or he? So Natalia asked to her papa or father who owns that Oxen Meadows. Chubbuck to Lamo, darling, the meadows are ours. Chubbuck also said that place Oxen Meadows are theirs. Lamo, but please, Stepan Stepanovich, how can they be yours? Do be a reasonable man. My aunt's grandmother gave the meadows for the temporary and free use of your grandfather's peasants. The peasants used the land for 40 years and got accustomed to it as if it was their own. When it happened that, he began to say the same story. Lamo began to say that history which he knows to Stepan Stepanovich. That means to Natalia's father. Chubbuck, excuse me, my precious. You forgot just this, that the peasants didn't pay your grandmother and all that because the meadows were in dispute and so on. And now everybody knows that they are ours. It means that you haven't seen the plan. So the peasants didn't do what they should. So that's why you don't know what's the real fact behind that Oxen Meadows. It meant that you haven't seen the plan. I think that you didn't see the real document of that place, Oxen Meadows. Lamo, I will prove to you that they are mine. Chubbuck, you won't prove it, my darling. Lamo, I shall. Chubbuck, dear one, why yell like that? You won't prove anything just by yelling. I don't want anything of yours and don't intend to give up what I have. Why should I? And you know, my beloved, that if you propose to go on arguing about it, I'd much sooner give up the meadows to the peasants than to you. So Chubbuck is saying to Lamo that you shouldn't yell like that. He shouldn't shout like that. If he is shouting like that, he will think to give that Oxen Meadows to the peasants itself, not to anybody else, not even to him, not even to Lamo. Lamo, I don't understand. How have you the right to give away somebody else's property? Lamo is asking, how can you sell somebody else's property? Chubbuck, you may take it that I know whether I have the right or not, because, young man, I am not used to being spoken to in that tone of voice and so on. Young man, I am twice your age and ask you to speak to me without agitating yourself and all that. So you may take it that I know whether I have the right or not. You know that I have the right to sell that land or not later. And not only that, young man, I'm not used to, I don't like people speaking to me in this kind of tone. This tone of voice is not liked by me. And one more thing, you are much younger than me. You are twice your age. Oh, you are much younger. So please don't shout at me. Lamo. No, you just think I'm a fool and want to have me on. You call my land yours and then you want me to talk to you calmly and politely. Good neighbors don't behave like that, Stephen Stepanovich. You are not a neighbor, you are a grabber. Now also Lamov is shouting at him. You are a grabber. Good neighbors won't do like this. Good neighbors won't speak like this. You took my land and you are saying that you are the owner of my land and you are asking me to talk politely, to talk calmly. How could this happen? Chewbacca. What's that? What did you say? Natalia. Papa, send the mowers out to the meadows at once. Natalia is saying, Papa, please go and say those mowers to God from there, so that it's an evidence that that land is theirs. Chewbacca. What did you say, sir? Natalia. Ox and meadows are ours, and I shan't give them up. Shan't give them up. Shan't give them up. She's claiming that. Lamo. We'll see. I'll have the matter taken to court, and then I will show you. So we'll see that that land is ours or yours from the court, and I will show you. Chewbacca. To court? You can take it to court and all that. You can. I know you. You're just on the lookout for a chance to go to court and all that. You petty fogger. All your people were like that. All of them. Now, by hearing that the thing will be taken to the court, Chewbacca gets much furious, much angry. He's saying that, oh, to the court, you'll take this matter to the court. You people, the family, the complete family of yours is like this. Petty fogger means an inferior legal practitioner, especially one who deals with petty cases. Lamo, never mind about my people. The Lamos have all been honorable people, and not one has ever been tried for embezzlement like your grandfather. Embezzlement means theft. Lamo is saying, never mind about my people, but the Lamos are not much honorable because you people are doing like these kind of thefts. Chewbacca, you Lamos have had lunacy in your family, all of you. Lunacy, we already told, a state of being lunatic, insanity. So you people are mad, not the complete family. Natalia, all. Natalia is repeating. Complete people in your family is lunatic. Chewbacca, your grandfather was a drunkard and your younger aunt Nastasia Mihailovna ran away with an architect and so on. So drunkard means a person who is habitually drunk. So Chewbacca calls Lamo's grandfather as a drunkard, and she also been saying that Lamo's younger aunt ran away with an architect. Lamo, and your mother was a humpbacked, that means clutched at his heart. Something pulling in my side. My head, help, water. Hump means a rounded protuberance found as an abnormality on the back of a person. Humpbacked. So your mother was humpbacked. So by saying this, what happened? While he was saying this, he felt a pull on his side and head. Thus he calls for help and he needs water. Chewbacca, your father was a guzzling gambler. Guzzling means greedy. Gambler means a person who gambles. So your father was such a person. Natalia, and there haven't been many backbiters to equal your aunt. Natalia calls Lamo's aunt as a backbiter, and no one could match her level. Lamo, my love food has gone to sleep. You are an intriguer. Oh, my heart. And it's an open secret that before the last elections I can see stars. Where's my hat? Intriguer means someone who deceives or someone who cheats. Lamo complains that his foot is numb. He can't walk. And at the same time, he is calling Chewbacca as an intriguer. And at this time, again, he felt a bit of pain in his heart. He was about to say something, but he couldn't complete that sentence. He began to feel dizzy. He's in search of his hat. He just want to escape from that place. Then, Natalia, it's low, it's dishonest, it's mean. Natalia calls this act as low, dishonest, and mean. Chuboko, and you're just a malicious, doubt-faced intriguer. Malicious means intending to do something harm to others. You are double-faced intriguer. Lamo, here's my hat, my heart. Which way? Where's the door? Oh, I think I'm dying. My foot is quite numb. At this time, Lamo is getting ready to go out from that house. Then, following him, and don't set foot in my house again. Chuboko warned him not to come there again. Natalia, take it to court, we'll see. Natalia said that you may take that matter to the court and we'll see from there. Chuboko, devil, take him, walks about in excitement. Natalia, what a rascal. What trust can one have in one's neighbor after that? Rascal? Devil. Natalia says that Lamo is a devil and we cannot believe anyone who's even a neighbor. Chuboko, the villain, the scarecrow. Chuboko is abusing him by using all these names. Natalia, the monster. First he takes our land and then he has the impudence to abuse us. Impudence means audacity. So first of all, he took our land and he is abusing us. Chuboko, and that blind hen, yes, that turnip ghost has a confounded cheek to make a proposal, and so on. What? A proposal. So in the midst of that cursing and calling all these names, Chuboko reveals the real reason behind Lamo's visit, and it was to propose his daughter. That fact is only being heard by Natalia at this time. Natalia, what? Proposal? Chuboko, why he came here to propose you? We have noticed that Lamo didn't disclose that matter. Before that, they started fighting, isn't it? So, she doesn't know that Lamo came there to propose her. Okay, Natalia, to propose to me. Why didn't you tell me so before? So, she's asking why you didn't tell me this before. Chuboko, so he dresses up in evening clothes, the stuffed sausage, the wizen-faced frump. Chuboko is still angry and he is calling names, and he says that's why Lamo came here with that evening dress and all. That evening dress. Natalia, to propose me. Falls into an easy chair and wails, bring him back, bring him here. Now she began to cry out loud. She says to Chuboko that I need him right here now. Chuboko, bring whom here? Natalia, quick, I'm ill, fetch him. Hysterics. She tells her father to call him back at the very moment. Chuboko, what's that? What's the matter with you? Clutches at his head. Oh, unhappy man that I am. I'll shoot myself. I'll hang myself. We have done for her. Chuboko saying that it's better for me to shoot myself than calling Lamo back. Natalia, I'm dying, fetch him. Natalia wants Lamo back. Chuboko, fool. At once, don't yell, I'll call him. Natalia, step now, wails. What have they done to me? Fetch him back, fetch him. Again, she is crying out. Chuboko, he's coming and so on. Devil, take him. Oh, talk to him yourself. I don't want to. He says that I don't talk to him and you can do it. Natalia, where is fetch him? Chuboko yells, he's coming, I tell you. Oh, what a burden, Lord, to be the father of a grown-up daughter. I'll cut my throat, I'll indeed. We cursed him, abused him, draw him out, and it's all you. Here Chuboko is saying that it's only because of this grown-up daughter he should do all these things. We cursed him. That means Lamo has been cursed, Lamo has been abused, and he's been drawn out from that house, and later he's been called back. It's all because of this daughter. Natalia, no, it was you. Chuboko, I tell you it's not my fault. Now you talk to him yourself. So by this time, Lamo appears at the door. Lamo, Lamo enters, exhausted. He's so much tired. My heart is palpitating awfully. My foot has gone to sleep. There's something that keeps pulling in my side. So Lamo is feeling all those physical disturbances. Okay. Natalia, forgive us, Ivan Vasilovich. We were all a little heated. I remember now. Oxen Meadows really are yours. So Natalia is surprisingly giving out a different tone, and she's clarifying, and she's saying to him that Oxen Meadows is really his. She suddenly remembers that fact. Lemo, my heart is beating awfully. My meadows, my eyebrows are both twitching. So while trying to talk about that Meadows, he expresses that his heart is beating hard and eyebrows twitching. Natalia, the Meadows are yours. Yes, yours. Do sit down. We were wrong. Natalia confirms that the Oxen Meadows are his and asks him to sit down. She accepts her mistake and says that they were wrong. Lamo, I did it on principle. My land is worth little to me, but the principle. Lamo said that although the land is worth a little, but he was just acting on that rule or principle. He was just fair to that. Natalia, yes, the principle, just so. Now let's talk of something else. Natalia tells him to change the topic in the hope of hearing that proposal words from him. Lamo, the more so as I have evidence. My aunt's grandmother gave the land to your father's grandfather's peasants. Lamo doesn't stop with his clarifications, and again he mentions that story. Natalia, yes, let that pass. I wish I knew how to get him started. Are you going to start shooting soon? So Natalia asks him to change the topic, but he sticks on that. So she's saying, I don't know how I'll ask him to change the topic. She asks Lamo if he shall restart shooting. Lamo, I'm thinking of having a go at the Black Hawk. Honored Natalia Stepnova after the harvest. Oh, have you heard? Just think what a misfortune I have had. My dog Gus, who has gone lame. Lame means unable to walk without difficulty as a result of any injury. So when Natalia asked that if is he going for shooting, he says that he was planning to go to the Black Hawk after the harvest. But his dog, Gus, the name of the dog, Gus, suffers difficulty in walking properly. Natalia, what a pity. Why? Lamo, I don't know. Must have got his head twisted or bitten by some other dog. My very best dog. To say nothing of the expense, I gave Mironov 125 rubles for him. Lomov is not sure of the reason. He doesn't know the real reason, but he thinks that he might have got his leg twisted or bitten by some other dog. He really regrets it as it was the best dog and he had paid a huge amount, that is 125 rubles for that dog. Natalia, it was too much, Ivan Vasilovich. Natalia says that it's a big price for such a dog. Lamo, I think it was very cheap. He's a first-rate dog. Natalia, Papa gave 85 rubles for his Squeezer, and Squeezer is heaps better than Gus. So she says that my Papa gave only 85 rubles for a Squeezer, and this Squeezer who is always better than your dog Gus. Lamo, Squeezer better than Gus. What an idea! Squeezer better than Gus. By saying this, he laughs. Natalia, of course, he's better. Of course, Squeezer is young. He may develop a bit, but on points and pedigree, he's better than anything that even Volshanitsky has got. Natalia confidently said that Squeezer is any day better than any other dog. He's young and he may develop a bit. He's the best when it comes to point and pedigree. Even beats Volchanitsky has got. Excuse me, Natalia Stepnova, but you forgot that he's overshot. And an overshot always means the dog is a bad hunter. So Natalia, Lamo is highlighting that Squeezer is an overshot, which means he's a bad dog for hunting. He's bad at hunting. Natalia, overshot, is he? The first time I hear it, she doesn't agree with what Lamo said. Lamo, I assure you that his Lower jaw is shorter than the upper. Now, you might have noticed that their argument has been changed from that land to dog. Okay. Natalia, have you measured? Lamo, yes, he's all right, all following, of course. But if you want to get hold of anything, so they began to plead that both of their dogs are better. Natalia, in the first place, Asciosa is a thoroughbred animal, the son of harness and chisels. While they are there's no getting at the pedigree of your dog at all. He is old and as ugly as a worn-out cab horse. So Natalia says about her dog he is the son of harness and chisels, two breeds. She says that Gus is old, ugly, and worn-out cab horse. That's a word she used. Lamo, he is old, but I won't take 5 squeezers for him. Why? How can you? Gus is a dog. As for Scusa, well, it's too funny to argue. Gus is a real dog, Lamo says. And I'm not arguing with you to say about your Scusa. Anybody you like has a dog as good as Scusa, you may find them under every bush almost. 25 rubles would be a handsome price to pay for him. Oh, you paid that much big amount for your squeezer. Under every bush we can find such kind of dogs, and you can get such kind of a dog only for 25 rubles. Natalia, there is some amount of contradiction in you today. Ivan Vaslovich, first you pretend that the meadows are yours. Now that Gus is better than Squeezer. I don't like people who don't say what they mean, because you know perfectly well that the Squeezer is 100 times better than your silly Gus. Why do you want to say he isn't? So Natalia is saying, why you always argue about simple things? First of all, you said that that meadows are yours, and now you said that the dog Gus is better than my Squeezer. Oh, I don't like this kind of people, she says. Lamo, I see, Natalia Stefnona, that you consider me either blind or a fool. You must realize that Scusa is overshot. So don't think that I'm blind or fool. My Scusa is overshot, and my dog Gus is always the best. Natalia, it's not true. Lamo, he is. Natalia, it's not true. Lamo, why shout, madam? Natalia, why talk rot? It's awful. It's time your Gus was shot and you compare him with Scusa. So Natalia is also fighting. He's talking. She says that he's talking rubbish. Gus must be shot dead rather than being compared to Scusa. Lamo, excuse me. I cannot continue this discussion. My heart is palpitating. Again, Lamo has the same physical condition. Natalia, I have noticed that those hunters argue most who know least. Natalia says to Lamo that those who argue the most know the least. That means those who talk much know nothing about anything. Lamo, madam, please be silent. My heart is going to pieces. Shut up. Lamo tells Natalia to stay quiet as he's not feeling well. Natalia, I shan't shut up until you acknowledge that Scusa is 100 times better than your Gus. Natalia continues arguing, and she says that he should accept that her dog Scusa is better than his Gus. Lamo, 100 times worse. Be hanged to your Scusa, his head, eyes, shoulder. So go and hang your Scusa. My dog is the best. Natalia, there's no need to hang your silly Gus. He's half dead already. There's no need to kill your dog. It's already half dead, Natalia said. Lamo weeps. Shut up. My heart is bursting. Natalia, I shan't shut up. At this time, enter Chubako. Chubako, what's the matter now? Natalia, Papa, tell us truly, which is a better dog, Scusa or his Gus? Lamo, Stepan Stepanovich, I implore you to tell me just one thing. Is your Scusa overshot or not? Yes or no? So Lamo asked him to give a direct answer. He asked whether his Scusa is an overshot or not. Chubako, and suppose he is, what does it matter? He's the best dog in the district for all that. And so on. He says, their Scusa is the best dog in that district itself. Lamo, but isn't my Gus better? Really? Now, Lamo is still in that same opinion. Chubako, Don't excite yourself, my precious one. Allow me. Your Gus certainly has his good points. He is purebred, from firm on his feet, has well sprung ribs, and all that. He said all the good qualities of that dog Gus. But my dear man, if you want to know the truth, that dog has two defects. He is all and he is short in the muzzle. So muzzle means in that speed. So he has many good qualities, but he has two defects. What's that? He is old and short in muzzle. Lamo, excuse me, my heart, let us take the facts. You remember that on the Marusinski hunt, my Gus ran neck and neck with the Count's dog, while your Skiza was left a whole verse behind. So Lamo refuses to accept it and start listing some facts about his dog. He begins by referring to the Marusinski hunt where Gus gave a good competition to the Count's dog. But Scusa, where was he at that time? He was running far behind them. Chubako, he got left behind because the Count's whipper-in hit him with his whip. So Chubako clarifies that it happened because the Perskisa got hit in his whip by the Count's dog. That's why. Lamo, and with good reason. The dogs are running after a fox when Scusa goes and starts worrying a sheep. Lamo even mentions that the dogs were running after a fox, unlike Scusa, who began troubling a sheep. Chiboko, it's not true, my dear fellow. I'm very liable to lose my temper, and so, just because of that, let's stop arguing. You started because everybody is always jealous of everybody else's dogs. Yes, we are all like that. You too, sir, aren't blameless. You no sooner begin with this, that, and the other, and all that. I remember everything. Chubako refuses to agree all these things said by Lamo. He thinks that everybody is jealous of others' dogs. He is very well aware that how Lamo will carry all these arguments. Lamo, I remember too. Chubako teasing him. I remember too. What do you remember? Lamo, my heart. My foot is gone to sleep. I can't. This time he's crying because his body is becoming palpitated. Nathalie teasing, my heart, what sort of a hunter are you? You ought to go and lie on the kitchen oven and catch black beetles, not go after foxes, my heart. Nathalie teases Lamo by talking about what kind of hunter he is. He keeps on saying, my heart, my heart. He must catch black beetles, not foxes. That's only he can do. Chubago, yes, really. What sort of a hunter are you? Anyway, you ought to sit at home with your palpitations and not go tracking animals. You could go hunting, but you only go to argue with people and interfere with their dogs and so on. Let's change the subject in case I lose my temper. You are not a hunter at all. Anyway, so Chubako also agrees, Natalia. He says that Lamo must sit at home with these palpitations. He must not go for hunting. Lamo, and are you a hunter? You only go hunting to get in with the Count or to intrigue. Oh, my heart, you are an intriguer, so you are a cheat, Lamo said. Chubako, what? I am an intriguer. Shut up. Lamo, intriguer. Chubako, boy, pup. Keep silence. Lamo, old rat, Jesuit. So all those abusing words are being called by Lamo. Chubako, shut up and I'll shoot you like a partridge. You fool. Partridge? Short-tailed game bird. I'll shoot you like a bird, he said. Lamo, everybody knows that. Oh, my heart, your late wife used to beat you. My feet, temples, sparks. I fall. Lamo starts getting personal even though his heart and feet hurt. He specified that it is well known that his wife used to beat him, Chubako's wife. Chubako, and you are under the slipper of your housekeeper. Chubako in turn says that everyone knows that he is under the control of his housekeeper. Lamo, my heart is burst. My shoulders come off. Where's my shoulder? I die. Fall into an armchair. A doctor. Lamo's heart feels like it is burst and his shoulder came off. He suddenly falls into a chair and he needs that. He says aloud that he needs a doctor. Chubako, boy, milk's up. Fool, I'm sick. Chubako doesn't stop cursing him while drinking water. Nadira, what sort of a hunter are you? You can't even sit on a horse, to her father. Papa, what's the matter with him? Papa, look, Papa, screams. Ivan Vasilevich, he's dead. Even Natalia doesn't stop cursing and she suddenly notices that Lamo is lying still as if he's dead. Chubako, I'm sick. I can't breathe air. Natalia, he's dead. Ivan Vasilevich, what have you done to me? He's dead. Falls into an armchair. A doctor, a doctor. She became hysterics. That means she's shouting out loud. Chubako, oh, what's it? What's the matter? Chubako asks Natalia. Natalia, he's dead, dead. Natalia cries that Lamo is dead. She thought that he's dead. Chubako, who is dead? Looks at Lamo. So he is. My word, water, doctor. Drink this. No, he doesn't drink. It means he's dead and all that. I'm the most unhappy of men. Why don't I pull a bullet into my brain? Why haven't I cut my throat yet? What am I waiting for? Give me a knife. Give me a pistol. Lamomos, he seems to be coming round. Drink some water. That's right. So, really, Chubako became much panicked. And he tries to get some water and crying out loud. That's all. Lamo, I see stars, mist. Where am I? Lamo, he got consciousness and he's asking where he is. Chubako, hurry up and get married. And well, to the devil with you, she is willing. He puts Lamo's hand into his daughter. She is willing and all that. I give you my blessing and so on. Only leave me in peace. So Chubako hurriedly asks him to get married to his daughter at that very moment. He puts Natalia's hand into Lamo's and says that she is willing for the marriage. He gives them his blessing and asks them to leave him in peace. And that's the only thing he needs. Lamo getting up. What? To whom? Chubako. She is willing. Well, kiss and be damned to you. Natalia. He is alive. Yes, yes, I'm willing. Chubako kiss each other. He asks Lamo. Kiss whom? They kiss. Very nice too. Excuse me. What's it all about? Oh, now I understand. My heart, stars. I'm happy. Natalia step now, na? Kisses her hand. My food is gone to sleep. Lamo still doesn't understand until Natalia kisses him. He suddenly remembers and gets excited and then kisses her hand by complaints that his foot is still numb. Natalia, I'm happy too. Chubako, what a weight off my shoulders. Oh, Natalia, but still you will admit now that Gus is worse than Scusa. Natalia again continues the topic about dogs and manipulates him into saying that her Scusa is better than his Gus. Lamo, better? Natalia, worse. Chubako, oh well, that's a way to start your family. Bless, have some champagne. Lamo, he's better. Natalia, worse, worse, worse. So Lamo and Natalia argue while Chubako offers them a drink. Chubako trying to shout her down. Champagne, champagne. Chubako, he's tired of them fighting and shouts that it is time for some champagne. And they got married, but still continuing their fight. And here ends our chapter. Thank you.